July 1st, the Garden becomes the Garden Community Church. We become our own 501c3. And well, now comes the time for us to figure out what one more thing we need to take with us as we move into this new way of being. I'm going to invite a couple members of the leadership team to come forth. Mike Hurdle, Gary Avery, are you going to come with Mike? And they're going to share a little bit about where we are in the midst of this transition moving into the Garden Community Church. Mike Hurdle, you will see him out there most Sundays in between services as he is our lead team leader. And let me tell you, he is an amazing guy who has put his heart, his life, lots of time, lots of energy into the garden and the garden experience, and we are in part because here today and have made it through this process because of your leadership. And then Gary is in charge of our finance team, and they're going to share some thoughts with us today about next steps.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome. I was doing really well with the service up until that last video. Not sure what that means. I did like the moving on theme, and certainly the butterfly music was great. You all have been working with us and aware for the last couple of years now that we've been in transition from our parents over on 86th Street. We'll be 21 in September. So it's time that we spread our wings and, head it on. So Carolyn asked us to talk, and we talked among the GLT about things that are staying the same and things that are going to change here as a result of this. And a couple of things I wanted to mention, and I'll let Gary jump in here for a minute. Let me make sure I've got my cheat sheet here too, so I don't forget anything. But just a couple of things. We are, and have been for a while, but haven't turned the light switch on, the Garden Community Church Incorporated. That's our new name. We are an affiliate of the United Methodist Church. We're one of, I think there's 1,000 such churches in Indiana. That means we'll be working with the United Methodist Conference here in Indianapolis that's responsible for all those churches in the state. We have new email addresses. Is it the gardenonline.org? And there will be people's names in front of those. So we'll be publishing them. Are they in the bulletin today? Or they will be. If they aren't, they are or they aren't. Yes, they're in there. All right. So if you had an old email address for Carolyn or Judy in particular, please note that those are in transition as we move forward over the next few weeks. Gary is the new treasurer of the church and has been working diligently with all of the business pieces of what it means to start a new church, which isn't a whole lot different than starting a new business. Accounting, information systems, keeping track of what happens here on Sunday, all of that, setting up the bank relationships, making sure that there are signatures that are in place so only certain people can sign for things. And so, we have put on our big boy and girl pants here and are moving ahead, and it's not without a little trepidation in the process, but things are moving along. The team structures and the involvement of all the committees become more and more important as we move forward. So I would ask you to consider seriously, if you're not already directly involved with one of the teams or one of the committees, that you give that some thought moving forward. The leadership team, the Garden leadership team, will continue. That is our board of directors. So when we look at the language used by other organizations and by the United Methodist Church, they refer to a board. We prefer the team language, and leadership, team leaders rather than board chairman and CEO and all of that kind of stuff. So we're trying to stick with that old garden language and nomenclature and think that works. So those are some changes. Gary, what have I missed here? Any other change things that...
No, I think it's important that we are moving on. And when I saw that jerk video, I thought I was going to walk down like this and say, we're moving on, we got to do bylaws, and we got to do everything. Yeah. But what's important is that you're going to see a lot of positive things happen in, let's say, for example, the giving side. We have an accounting system, ACS, that is automated and going to allow you to go directly online and control how you want to give, where you want to give, and also have information right at your hands at how much you've given throughout the year and keep in control. The other aspect of it is you'll be able to communicate with other members of the church. There'll be ways to do that. So that's going to be a terrific way in our community to, again, build relationships. The money's going to be transferred at the end of this month, and we'll be ready to kick off on July 1. Importantly, it's been a 9-month journey, and I think you need to know that this man here is the backbone of where we're going and where we've been. And if it wasn't for Mike, we would be struggling a lot harder. We owe a great deal of gratitude to this man, and we all thank him from the leadership team for sure. And
I was going to give you one of those aw shucks things, but we're running over here, I know, but just give me one more minute. I want to talk about what isn't changing. What you see here on Sunday morning, the service, the talk, the music, the videos, all of that stays the same. It stays intact. We want to bring you an experience that not only sticks with you for an hour or two after the service, but sticks with you throughout the week and gives you something to think about, pray about, and kind of integrate into your day-to-day living. So that stays the same. We continue to meet here at Beef and Boards. We have a great relationship with the Stark family, and they've committed to allowing us, out of their generosity, to continue on forward with them. Our offices stay over at St. Luke's, and at least for the foreseeable future, that will be our home during the week. And we're checking phone numbers, but right now we will have the numbers that are in place will continue, and until we can get a direct line into the garden, which hopefully will happen here shortly, we'll publish that as well. But things stay the same there. I mentioned earlier the leadership team continues as is, and we're again looking for volunteers to continue to be part of not only leadership, and if you have an interest there, but in all of the various teams that help make the garden do what it's able to do on a week-to-week basis. Gary mentioned that all of our assets, whether it's our equipment, our furniture, our computers, our money, all of that gets moved between now and Friday, the 1st of July. So all of your generous giving a year ago into the It's a Wonderful Garden will help us continue through this transition in the next several months, and that money's all intact and will just be moved to a new bank account between now and Friday. And last but not least, again, encouraging your involvement, and that's not just your time, but also your talent, your skills, and your treasure, which is something that we've talked about formally and informally for a long time, but it'll become increasingly important to have your involvement now as we go forth after July 1. So I'm way over. Thank you for your time, and get on the train. It's leaving the station.